because these were being done in this manner, so we're doing it. In banks, usually large banks, there are manuals, and when you follow those manuals, you're following it because you can't really deviate from manuals. There will be three kinds of audits at least. Internal audit, external audit, and central bank audit. At least three. So those three audits will not allow you to deviate from your own manuals. But still there is a room to review those manuals at various levels, re-engineer certain processes, amend them, of course with internal audit, with statutory requirements, get it approved by whatever level, board or whatever has to approve that change in the manual, and then carry out that change for improvement. It is not that once the manual is written, so it's like you can't really touch it now. Internal audit teams, chief internal auditors, reporting should be as much as possible to the audit committees, to the board of directors, and independent bodies rather than the CEO or the managing director or the CFO for that. The worst scenario is CFO. And even CEO and MD is not really recommended because CEO and MDs have got certain powers to do things and carry out certain transactions at the level, either with CFO or with any other functional head. So if the internal auditor or the chief of that department is reporting to that chief executive or the managing director, he cannot really be independent because he is his boss and he has to listen to the boss. And there will be fear, as I said, a fear of survival, his increments are being done by him, his promotions are linked to this guy. Very difficult for him to really report independently, especially when it comes to his areas of authorities, if he is doing certain things. How would he report to him that you exercise it wrongly, in this approval? He will write to him, because if he is reporting to him, he will send the report to him. And if he is reporting to the chairman of the board or an audit committee with independent directors, he will send the report there. He could discuss with everyone, that is not a problem, but submission will be there and he would not really be afraid in that manner that he will have a problem. Still there could be problems in practical world. I'm not saying that when an internal audit head reports to the board or the audit committee, there is no problem at all because he has to still work in the company, live with these people. The CEO is there, the CFO is there, and he has to interact with all of them. So, of course, it requires diplomacy to an extent, it requires good relationships, it requires interpersonal skills, that is not a problem. But, as I said, there has to be a call where he has to agree or disagree. They could give their comments and he can write that this is what the CEO thinks, but this is what I still feel, and this is the final report. So that is the kind of independence that is required for internal auditors. External auditors to keep integrity and professional values above everything else. And I have noticed myself, not in Pakistan but also in the Middle East, because people think that Middle East is advanced. Yes, Middle East is advanced in lots of areas like Saudi Arabia or UAE where I've worked, and even I've traveled a lot in various MENA region countries. But the problem is, even there, the auditors, because their role is not that statutory, as we have, at least in this region, in Pakistan, India, what do you call it, Indian subcontinent, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and so on, they've got better frameworks and better regulatory requirements. Still, they still work towards getting some other jobs in addition to audit. Here at least now that they've changed the names at least, or the organization has been segregated. The CEO of the consulting firm is different, and the chief in charge partner or managing partner of audit firms are different. But there is still, they've got sections within the firm. Assurance, consulting, advisory, because this is not a statutory requirement to segregate in that, although ethically and globally it is required. So the big fours are trying to sort of segregate them in terms of people who are responsible, but not as a firm. Still they are operating as EY or PwC or whatever, and they try to get additional businesses in addition to the external audit. And that is where the problem arises. Because when you are looking towards a bigger assignment of, say, for example, 2 million dirhams vis-a-vis a 300,000 audit fee, where do you tilt? Either you forego 2 million and be strict to get 300,000, or you have to compromise because the client is giving you 2 million dirhams for whatever work they are carrying out through you. Restructuring, corporate restructuring, re-engineering of processes, internal control reviews, and you name it. There are lots of jobs that the audit firms can carry out, definitely. So here, there is no problem as far as if they take the work and they are independent and they care for this integrity. But how far they do it, I think we are all aware. I don't need to say that. And that is why we saw that list in the beginning of the last 10 years trend, that what is happening, and big fives were involved and one has gone, has vanished. So the big four have left, are there, are still there. Then development of regulatory bodies in terms of how they should effectively monitor, what is their real effective role in the whole scenario, because they are also important, they are responsible. But are they really carrying out their responsibilities? If they are carrying out, why this trend of 3.5 scandals globally, and majority in the United States, the developed world in North America, were happening? There were lots of regulatory bodies in the United States. Of course, they were more advanced. They have been, there before even we thought of those bodies. They even brought in new laws like SOX. So has the SOX diminished or reduced those kinds of scandals? I have not seen that trend. And I've shown you the trend from reliable sources, that the trend is going adverse, which means that they are not really effectively monitoring and working and fulfilling their responsibilities. That's the problem, and they need to improve. And someone has to work on their development, and someone means the public sector, the government. The government has to try and introduce certain training workshops, training programs, character building programs for that area as well. As I said, I will focus more now on this, because as we said in the previous slides, and we have analyzed, and we have come to at least I have come to a conclusion personally, that as I said, whatever you do, whatever controls you implement, segregation of duties, separate departments, lots of controls, password and user ID in the automated systems, all kinds of things, you cannot eliminate frauds. You cannot eliminate corruption. Otherwise, United States would not have that kind of pie share, which we saw in the last 10 years. So more important is character, because as I said, personality is a person's reaction or an action to a particular situation, and that reflects his or her personality. Normally when we act or react in a situation, when we are along with some people, amongst the people, that is what our personality is. People say that this is the kind of personality that it is. Whereas character has a much wider significance. Character is something, if we say that a person, how he is and what he does, when nobody is seeing, that is the character. Nobody is watching, right? If someone is there in front of you, I think then you tailor your actions according to that person who is in front of you, and how the situation is and how you have to react. Normally people are wise. They will not react in a situation against that situation normally. That is usual, that people will react according to the situation. So character is much more important. Character will stop that person from stealing even if someone is not watching. If the CCTV is there, and if he knows that CCTV is there, right, he is not stealing because he knows that I'll be caught by this camera. Whereas if there is no CCTV and nothing is there, and the guy is not really stealing, and he has all the chances to steal. That is the difference. I just quoted someone in one of the presentations in one of the universities very recently, a very practical and very small, very crude example, and which will differentiate personality and character very, very easily. And I observed it myself in Dubai, in the largest market, which is the Carrefour in their city center. Very, very huge, okay. There was a dry food section where I went also personally. This is December, last month I went to Dubai, and I was looking for some dates, good dates, Saudi Arabian dates. There was a person in front of me with a trolley, and he was standing, I think from India. And this guy who is salesman or whatever, he's an Arabic speaking guy. As soon as this guy turned back, this guy took one date and tasted, the person in front of me. And because he was just turning, he didn't turn full, he noticed that this guy has taken one date and he tasted. He was very unhappy and angry, this salesman. He said, why didn't you ask me for tasting? Because you were standing and I was facing you for so many minutes. And as soon as I was turning, you picked one date and you tasted. This is stealing. He said, no, I was tasting. He said, no, I would have given you as much as you want, but you asked me. Because we are allowed to give you for tasting. But why are you taking it when I am turning back? He was talking in Arabic. I understand Arabic, and then he spoke to me, he said sorry, and then he went. He didn't buy.